together and need a break because that is who we are. Thank you for joining us. I'm Megan Thomas at Meg Scoop everywhere.
I'm Marisa Johnson, and she is Marisa J. Make sure to follow our podcast at MNEB Podcast. And make sure, if you want to see exclusive content, join our Patreon and become a member for $3.
Ooh, yeah. Or you can, or 20 if you want to bless us. Well, today we got another great show. We're going to be discussing training underwear, Meg Thee Stallion, and more. But first, our guest today, you see her. She is a wife. She's a mother of 6. She's an author. She's a teacher and the owner of Hidden Gems Preschool. Y'all give it up for Charisse Sims. Woo! Charisse! How are you today? First of all, Charisse, your house is extra quiet for you to have 6 children.
Oh, no, I'm not at home. Not at all. The only way this was going to happen is if I escaped and left. So I'm actually at my school, which is in the process of transforming to a library / school. So that's where I am. No kids here.
I was about to say, I was like, wow, how did you keep him so quiet?
I have one
and you'll probably hear him.
I got it together. Join my parenting program. I'll show you how, but no,
yes.
You got to leave.
That's good. Let's talk about some Ain't No Shames. Marisa, what you got?
This segment is Ain't No Shame. So this is our mommy confessions where we basically give our shameful mommy moments, but we don't judge each other. So actually, I got this one last night. I saw on That Chick Angel's page, which go check out her episode with us many moons ago. She was in the process of working out and her kids ran in the garage and I think they were hitting on each other. And she just like out this whole discipline act on Instagram. It was hilarious. Yes. So last night I got on my Peloton bike around 9:30. I don't even know why Halo was still up around this time. And I knew she was going to come in because every time I ride, she comes in and tries to get on the bike with me. So I pushed the couch. I like pushed the couch that's in our room, like against the door. And you can just hear her like kicking and screaming, "Mommy, get on the bike." And like she was doing it. I like recorded it and sent it to Angel. Like, you inspired me to like, lock my kids out of my room and I'm working out. So ain't no shame in locking your kids out of the room when you're trying to work out, because it's like the only 30 minutes you have in your entire life. Well, at least that's my only 30 minutes I have in my life to work out. So thank you, Angel, for, inspiring me to do that.
Wait, so she was just kicking the whole time, like, let me in!
Screaming. Like,
would you like turn the music up? Like,
ride the bike too. Yeah, I just put it up. But I already did the Ain't No Shame moment where I turned my music all the way up when she's screaming. So this time it was like locking her out with a couch. She's like,
sometimes you got to. Ain't no shame in that.
Right. What about you, Charisse? You got 6 little ones. I'm sure you've had some shameful moments.
No, by this time, let me tell you, like, ain't no shame in none of it. I really can't even think of a time where I feel like maybe I should feel no, I have that thought, like maybe I should feel guilty about this. And that thought quickly leaves like, nope, I don't. I can't even think of like an actual, I've had many moments where I lock them out. Ain't no shame in that. Have many moments where I turn up the music. Ain't no shame in that. I think one of the differences is like having one child, I had all the mom guilt about leaving ever and felt like I could not ever leave. And over the pandemic, I have left and gone and stayed at hotels. And when I get out the car, some of the kids may be crying and I'll be like, bye, love y'all, have fun with Papa. And I just don't feel bad. I ain't no shame in taking time to myself, whether it be 30 minutes on a bike or 3 days in a hotel.
That is
just
gold.
What I have to do.
You remember I told you that, Megan?
Yes. So I have one. My son's almost 2. Marisa has 2. And she was telling me about her friend who like would just leave and just have her own little time away from her kids at a hotel. And I'm like, I can't even, because I'm doing exactly what you said, Charisse, which is I have all this mom guilt because I have, I only have one. So that the key is I got to have another one. And then I'll be like, yeah, well, wait. No,
it's funny because those Loves commercials are real. Like first kid, you coddle them and all that. Second kid, it's, it's different. But it's not even about first kid or second kid. I think you just get to a point where you stop taking care of yourself and prioritizing yourself for so long that you get to a point where like you're not only broken, but you're like demolished. So now you have to rebuild yourself, and you just realize that there really is no shame in taking time to yourself. And I think even that it was one of those times where I was like, should I feel bad that I'm going to stay at a hotel? Especially because I did judge women when I had one or even two, and I saw women staying away from their family for periods of time. I did judge them. And, you know, I apologize to all you that you unknowingly, I judged you. But, you know, I thought it was wrong. So I came back and I was like, should I not have stayed at the hotel? And I asked my children, I was like, do you guys feel bad when mommy's gone? And they said, especially the older ones, they were like, no, mom, you work really hard. You deserve a break. And so, you know, for me, it's more of like also what I'm communicating to them. When they grow up, I want them to feel okay taking care of themselves and feel okay taking a weekend to themselves, because you need it. We all need it. So ain't no shame.
You were the second person to affirm the hotel stay. And I was like, okay, this is the thing. I got to do this. I think I'm going to do it.
Oh my gosh, I'm scared too. I'm just gonna be like, what do I do? Like,
you just have to let go of all expectations, like expectations that they're gonna eat healthy, that they're gonna be clean, and that your house is gonna be clean. Just let all of that go. Let it go.
Oh, Charisse, I need you to like be my life coach at this point. Oh gosh, we just started the episode. I'm like, I need that. Well, let's talk about some mommy tips. So as you guys know, I am currently training Maverick, and I am proud to say, y'all, he's potty trained. Ooh, ooh, he's potty trained. Ooh, ooh. We started on Monday. It's Friday. He's potty trained, y'all. You have no idea. I'm so excited because he's like pees and he poops in his little toilet. I was like,
congratulations.
He has not had an accident for the past 3 days. He's every time he's like,
fantastic.
So I'm like, thank you, Lord, because this is the
second. There's
attempt.
your hotel money right there. You just saved on diapers. Go ahead and reward your potty training week with a hotel stay.
Ooh, I'm about to do that. Yes, like this was the second attempt. The first attempt, I wasn't ready. He was ready because we did it at 18 months, and honestly, he probably would have been potty trained then, but he had a couple of accidents, and like the second time he pooped on the floor and pooped up the stairs, pooped around the toilet, I was like, I'm done. So we gonna have to revisit and he knew what he was doing. He was trying to like make his way to the toilet. He just dropped some logs on the way. But you know, like I just was so frustrated, and I realize now with like potty training, you have to be mentally ready as a parent, not just your child. Because I was so concerned with like, oh, is he ready? Let me see the signs. Looks like he's ready. Okay, let's go. But then I didn't realize I had to be ready too, because I gave up. Like put the dog back on. I can't do this. So this second attempt, I was ready. I had my, pee spray, and I had my paper towels.
What's a pee spray?
It's for dogs. So, the urine spray for the dogs and stuff. I use that for him too.
I've never heard of that. What is that? I've not heard.
Like when you have pets and they pee or they pee or they poop in the house, you're supposed to when you clean it up.
Prepared to clean up the messes. I thought you go like dropping water on their knee or something. Go ahead and pee. I thought it was a pump to get him to know to use the bathroom. I was like, how does that work? I mean, that could be a good potty training tip. Just spray them in the face and be like, go use the bathroom.
Very true.
Every time they pee on the floor, you just get them in the face.
But yeah, so my tip that I think what helped me, because the first attempt, I was putting him in pull-ups and then was like, hey, pull your pull-ups down, pull them down. And it wasn't really working because I think they were too similar to diapers. So I switched over to training underwear, which I didn't know there was a difference between underwear and training underwear. And for those of you who are like me who didn't know, training underwear has like a thick cloth at the bottom. So it soak up the pee a little bit. But that really, as soon as he peed in that, he was like, and after that, no more accident, because he realized like he could feel it. So training underwear, just skip the pull-ups if you can and just go straight to the training underwear. It's a little more accidents, but I think they get it quicker.
I agree with that, because just this morning, because we put on the pull-ups at night with Halo in case she pees on herself. And this morning, literally, because she holds, and I've said this before, she will hold her poop. She will not go poop in the potty. Like if someone's watching it, she won't do it. I don't know if she's embarrassed or what, but as soon as we put that pamper on at night, like she lets
It's like finally.
You know what? A lot of kids are scared to poop in the potty.
No,
Does she have a potty chair, or you try to have her go on the big potty?
And she has a little seat cover in the big potty in her bathroom. And like this morning, I had to throw her. I wouldn't be surprised if I still have poop on me. I had to throw her in the shower because she held it probably all day yesterday and then let it loose this morning. And it was before I could put her potty training pants on. It was over. And it's only, and she'll be like, how about this, mommy? You put a pamper on me. She always does that. When I say go boo-boo, she's, how about this? You put a pamper on me.
She's gonna negotiate with you.
How about this? And she wants that to go poop in it because she will not poop in the potty. It's crazy to me that she's so scared to poop. I don't get it. I don't get it. I'm always, it's good to poop, Halo. Like it's good. It helps your tummy go down. And she won't do it.
I don't know what it's. I have been celebrating his turds like no other, y'all. I'm talking about pee and everybody. Grandma got to dance. I got to dance. Daddy got to dance. These dogs got to dance. Everybody got to dance and celebrate his peeing and his pooping in the potty. And then I try to make it fun. Like we have a standing shower in my bathroom, and I've been letting him like pee in there because I think as a boy he's just like yes. So he's holding his penis and he's just been going like this with it.
Daniel,
and I just close the door and I just stare at him and he's just being there like oh and I'm like, yeah, you pee in the shower. And so now he's excited. And then like, what was it, yesterday? He like pooped. I was like, oh, poo in the shower. So he's like so excited about it now. And I don't know if I did something wrong because I feel like now he's gonna always be like, I gotta go to the shower and poop.
I love that.
That's funny. Daniel did that the other day, playing with his little penis, doing all this. I was cracking up so bad I had to just walk out the bathroom before he peed on his face because he was like holding it up. I was like, Daniel, but because I was laughing, he thought it was funny, so he kept doing it. I was like, I just have to leave. Hiram, go get your son. You got to be on this one because.
Oh, the beauty of having sons. I've never seen anything like that.
Girl, enjoy it, okay? Because I was like, and then he was on the potty this morning, and the next thing you know, I see pee going straight up. I was like, what? What did it? So I guess there's like a little guard where like, you know, his penis is supposed to like, so the pee will go down as opposed to out of the potty. So he was too close and his penis was like pointing up against the guard. So his shirt was wet and he was just sitting there like, doo-doo-doo.
I did it, mama.
I was like, okay, well, let me go get your little snack, your little quinoa chocolates.
That's funny.
Wait, so do you have any tips, Charisse? Any mommy tips for us?
I have 1,000 mommy tips. I'll give a bedtime tip. So a lot of parents always ask about bedtime and having their children stay in their bed. One thing that I do with my children that works very well, and of course these things work, like the earlier on you can do them with it, the better it'll work. But I'll tell them things like, I need to see that you can lay in your bed for 20 minutes without me before I come in and lay with you, or before this, whatever they're asking for happens. I'll say, show me first that you can lay for 20 minutes. And if you get up, then your 20 minutes starts again. And whenever that happens, usually within that 20 minutes, they end up falling asleep, but I will always come back. So that's one thing. Like anytime I tell my children something, I always keep my word so that they trust it. I don't believe in like lying to children because children are so smart. So anytime, you know, you try to bribe them or lie to them, if you don't hold up your end of the bargain, they remember it and then it won't work. So if they ask me to like stay with them in their room, I'll say, you lay down first 20 minutes quietly. And I'll even tell them like, you don't have to go to sleep. I just want you to lay down quietly. That's the thing too, is like taking all the pressure off of whatever it is you're trying to get them to do. So I'll say, you don't have to sleep. I just need you to rest your body, but rest your body for 20 minutes. And then I'll come in here and lay with you. And usually by the end of the 20 minutes, they're asleep. So that works for me, telling them to lay first by themselves for 20 minutes. And then, like I said, I'll always come in and check on them. And if they're awake, then I will come like rub their back for 10 minutes or something before I leave. But I'm not a big, like, lay with my children for a long period of time and pat their backs to sleep. And do all of that because I don't have time and ain't no shame.
No, because Halo always asks us to give her massages.
Who is this girl? I need a massage.
Well, what about getting out the bed? I texted you this morning because I was so tired this morning because Halo keeps coming in our bed around 3 a.m. and usually she'll just lay down. This time she came in and was like, "Where's my iPad?" What? I was like, "Turl, go get this kid out, put her back in the bed." Like, I don't know why she keeps coming in our room, but literally,
I want to kick it with Halo one day. She sounds like fun.
She is.
Halo is Halo eating right. She'll have her skin looking right. She will.
That is funny.
All the songs. I don't know who she is.
All right, y'all, let's scroll. This is the time of our show where, we go take a break from our kids. You might go to the bathroom because you're handling your business when you're really just scrolling your timeline. So what was on my timeline today? Actually, there was a story about the rapper Meg Thee Stallion. If y'all don't know, she was shot in her foot a few weeks ago, and people really didn't understand what happened. They were like, she was in the car with the singer Tory Lanez and her friend and his security. They were coming back from a party in Hollywood from Kylie Jenner's house. Next thing you know, the chopper's on top of their car. Meg is like hobbling out the car. She's leaking blood from her foot. Everybody's like, what happened? She never came out to say, but people were speculating like her and Tory Lanez were together and then he shot her because she didn't want to be with him, or they were arguing because he was trying to get with Kylie. None of that stuff was true. So Meg finally came out on her own Instagram and she was like, look, I wasn't going to say anything, but I'm going to say something now because apparently Tory Lanez is putting out false information out there about her. So she was like, I was trying to be nice. I was trying not to, really put the business out there, but now I'm going to. So she said what happened was they were all in the car. There was a big argument, I guess, between the 4 of them in the car. She doesn't say what, but there was an argument. So she said, people don't like hearing the truth. So I guess that's what set the argument off. So she decides to get out of the car as they're heading back to drop her off at her place. She gets out the car and she says she gets out the front seat. As she gets out of the front seat, Tory Lanez is mad. He, I guess, pulls his head out the back seat and shoots her and hits her foot. And that's why she said the back of her foot was shot. She doesn't say why, but that's what happened. And so she says,
but you don't need to say why. That's
right.
What could possibly make that cool? Like, oh, okay. Now I understand why he shot you in the foot.
Right. And so she said, so there's a witness at in the neighborhood they were in when she got out, and the person called the police. So the police come and the chopper comes. So this is in the midst of all the Black Lives Matter stuff happening. There's cops shooting Black people left and right. So there's a Black man in a car with a gun. So she said she was just like, look, I'm not trying to die. I don't want my friend to die. I don't want nobody in this car to die. It was just an argument. And so the police she's got her hands up. You can see in that video, she's like this. The police are asking her what happened. And she was like, I don't know, man. I think I cut my foot on some glass. Like, she wasn't saying anything. She said she got to the hospital. She still wasn't saying anything to the police. She wasn't even trying to tell the doctors because she was like, I didn't know if they were cops or whatever. She said the doctors were like, ma'am, you have a bullet in your foot. She was like, oh, for real? Like, she was really, because she said, I didn't want any of us to die. Here, we've got the chopper above us. What do police do with Black people that have guns? They shoot them for less. So she was like, I wasn't going to say anything and be like, he's got a gun. She's like, no, I just didn't say anything because I didn't want anybody to die over this.
Right.
So she was like, here I am trying to protect him and make sure he doesn't get in trouble. And next thing you know, he's out here spreading lies like, oh, Megan's just jealous. That's why she, they got in an argument. Like, she was like, no, none of that happened. So I'm out here telling my truth. So I say all that to say, what are your thoughts? Because it seems like this is another case of a Black woman who is defending a Black man only to not be defended by this Black man. Do you guys feel like Black men defend Black women the way Black women defend Black men?
That, first of all, it's hard for me to even wrap my mind around that question because it all sounds crazy. Like,
right.
Anybody getting shot during an argument and you trying to act like it was just an argument, that's insane to me. And for him to even go and say anything after the fact that you shot somebody, like, you should have just been quiet. But in terms of Black women protecting Black men versus Black men protecting Black women, I really think it depends on the circle that you're in. I guess that's the best way I can say it. I mean, the group of Black people that I'm around, our Black men protect us. You know, they protect how people speak about us, speak to us, come at us. Like, they protect us. And those are the Black men that I know. I don't know Black men that shoot people. Those are not the Black men that I know. So obviously they exist, but I think there are a lot of Black men out there that protect their Black women that they know and love, and they just have a love and respect for Black women, and they stand strong to protect them. But I also think, now I feel like this is gonna be hard to say because I don't want it to be misinterpreted, but I do feel like it is our job to protect ourselves also. Like, people can't love and protect you more than you can love and protect yourself. And that sounds so cliche, but part of that does look like, who are you around? Yeah. You know, if you're around the type of Black man that's going to shoot you, or, I mean, that's so extreme and dramatic, but if you're around the type of Black man that's going to let somebody talk to you any kind of way, that's going to talk to you any kind of way, how much do you really value and respect and love yourself that you've even brought that into your life and then allow it to stay and remain? So for me, if I'm in a position where I have to defend someone that's not going to defend me, that's not the person that needs to be in my life. So I feel like that starts with me in the first place. But, you know, like I said, it's just who you position yourself around. I've positioned myself around Black men that love and protect their Black women, their Black sisters, moms, and their Black brothers. And that's just the group of Black people that I'm around.
Oh yeah. That's good that you said it, because that's exactly what Meg Thee Stallion said. She said, like, you know, this has taught me that I need to be, you know, more protective of who I have around me and who I allow in my space. And that's so true, because I think a lot of times we'll just be like, oh, it's cool, you know, it's fine. They're a little crazy, but it's just them. And then you don't realize, like, that also puts you in danger. That person's craziness. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What you got to say, Marisa?
I think Charisse said it all. When you first said, I was like, oh, my Black man protects me. That's what my first thought was in my head, you know, and I don't think I could have said it any better. You're around, and it's your environment and what type of people you're around, you know.
That's true.
I totally agree. Yeah.
But I do hear a lot of Black women saying that they feel like they are always doing more for other people, whether that's a man or a woman. But I hear a lot of Black women say, I'm always doing more for them than they're doing for me, or I'm always loving more than, you know, and defending other people that aren't there for me. And I think if you find yourself like putting more than 2 posts about that subject on your timeline, or you find yourself saying that to yourself, because I'm saying this based on like what I see on my feed, right? I'll see people constantly posting about, you know, why everybody think during the pandemic, I'm the one to go run the errands. Why everybody think that I'm the one to come to, but then when I need somebody, ain't nobody there. And I'll see that post from the same person 10, 20, 30 times a year. If you find yourself repeatedly saying that, like, check in with yourself and change something. And I think like really reflecting on what your beliefs are behind that, like those things are deeply rooted somewhere else. So, you know, I don't know if it comes from society teaching Black women that we are so strong, we are super women. And, you know, that's another thing like that. As a mom, I've learned to let go of more and more as I have more children, as I get older, letting go of even wanting to be perceived as super mom, because it's a trap. Like, when I am going through a hard time, I can't reach out to nobody because I'm going to destroy my image of super mom. And, you know, when I can't do a task, like, you just can't get the support you need when you're trying to uphold these titles. So if we're always looking at ourselves as like strong, independent women that are doing X, Y, and Z, like, you're going to find yourself in situations where you don't have people defending you or protecting you because you're trying to create this image that you don't even need that. Yeah. So I think some reflection needs to go into that, but I do think it's a whole also. It's like we have to change the ideal and the image of us as Black women, like we don't have to be so strong and so tough. And I don't want to get all the way into it, but it goes, you know, it does go back to slavery. It's like, as slaves, you had to be strong. You had to protect your sons, and you could not allow or raise your son to be somebody that could protect you, because once the slave master saw that your son was strong enough to protect you, they was selling him off. So here you are, raising sons to always be like, oh no, he's not that strong yet. He's not smart yet. He's not fast yet, because you knew that all these strengths were something that were going to cause you to lose your child. So we've inherently for centuries been ones to defend our men and not want them to defend us, because that does endanger them. The same way that she said, well, if I say that he shot me, we all might die. And that's a horrible and sad reality that we live in right now. And I felt that way, where I feel like, my neighbors were recently, like, not recently, pre-pandemic, had some party, and it was like, what's that, World Star? You guys remember that site? Yeah. I felt like it was straight from that. And I was like, this is not the neighborhood that I live. What's happening? There was people all in the streets, cars everywhere. Mamas got babies on their hips trying to fight somebody. And I was like, this is ridiculous. And I just knew somebody was going to pull out a gun. And I was like, I'm about to call the cops. No, I'm not. I'm not calling no cops to come to this situation, because then surely somebody will die, and it might be me. And I'm not trying to do that. So I'm just going to get my popcorn and look through my blinds. And if stuff gets too popping, I'm about to go to the back of my house. But, you know, it's just, it's a crazy world that we live in, where a lot of things need to change.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. That is very well said. And I'm glad you said that, because I want to ask you this about your kids. You've got 6 children that you're raising with ease. As I look on your Instagram page, it looks like you're just doing it in a breeze. You're doing this in a pandemic. So I know there has to have been some changes. How has your life changed during this pandemic?
I actually feel like my life has slowed down during the pandemic, because I have 6 kids, but then I also have a business where have 20 other children in the business. And then there's, you know, the 40 parents that come with those 20 children and the employees that work here. And so before the pandemic, I was working, you know, 60 hours a week and trying to mom in between and trying to run my business and go pick them up and do doctor's appointments and all these things. And so then the pandemic hit, and I felt like I had more hours during the day, because now I'm not having to run this business in the same way. It's funny too, because I feel like, have y'all felt like you have more and less time during the pandemic?
Yes, every day.
Every day. It feels like there's more and less time. Yeah. So it's been that, but it's been a lot of fun being able to spend time with my family. It's been a lot of fun getting home like before the sun goes down, which we used to always get home, you know, after 6, 7 o'clock. So it would be dark, and then we'd be rushing to do dinner and bed, and we'd just be doing routines. And like, for us, it is important to connect with our children. So we always have dinner together at the table. We always share the peak and pit of our day, which I got from the Kardashians. And, you know, we try to connect with them, but it still feels rushed. It still feels like, okay, and what was the peak and pit of your day? And the peak and pit of your day? Okay, good. Anything else? All right, let's move. Put your bowls in the sink. Like, brush your teeth. We got to go. So not having to do that, and having time to like take walks together, and having time to sit and really talk, and having time, like, hair days look very different now. You know, it's like we can actually relax and watch a movie. So in that realm, it's been very nice. And it's also, I've always been thankful to have all 6 of my kids, but for the first time, it's really like, I'm so glad that there are 6 of y'all, because they do entertain each other. They do play with each other. So they're not always in my face talking about mommy, play with me. I remember one time, like, all the kids went to grandma's house and just one stayed. And the whole time she was like, mommy, what we gonna do? And I was like, ooh, is this what it's like? Is this what it's like to have one child?
Yes.
Everybody needs to go have a second. Just for yourself. Like,
right.
I think it's like we have more time now for our kids, but we still have less time for ourselves. It's like, it's like if I don't get up and prepare everything for the day, or Like, there's no time for me. There's no time to eat.
Yeah.
There's no time to brush my teeth. It's like nothing. But
well,
there's more time with family, but still there's like less time for self. I don't know.
But that's because you also still have two littles. Like my older ones are 10, 9, and 7. And those ones help me with the little ones. You know what I mean? So sometimes, like, if I get to the point where I am overwhelmed or feel like I'm getting to the verge and I really need a moment, and I'm very open and honest with my children. Like, my children know when I'm on my period. They know when I'm PMSing. Like, they know the days. They know when it's hormonal. I have my kids ask me, like, Mommy, are you crying because you're sad or because you're hormones? So they know, and I'll tell them, I'm like, look, I'm saying this to you nicely right now, but if you ask me one more time, it's not going to be so nice because this is the end of my patience right here in this conversation. So I'll tell them, like, Mommy needs a moment. I need a moment. Y'all help with the twins. Do not come and get me unless somebody's bleeding. Like, unless somebody's bleeding or holding a knife or a pair of scissors, like, I need 10 minutes. And the same thing I do with bedtime. I'll be like, if y'all come bug me, my 10 minutes starts again. So for you, yours are little, so it does feel like less time because you can't just leave them. But for me, my older ones do help me, so I can just walk away sometimes. You can. I could.
You can. That'll be fine. Halo know where everything is, girl. She'll be fine.
Last week I talked about taking individual time with your kids, like, and spending those moments. So I only have 2, and that's really hard. How do you do that with 6 kids and giving individual love and mommy time?
I just let it flow. Like, if they want to do something with me, they all have such different personalities, so they don't all want to do the same things. So sometimes if I'm cooking dinner, like my oldest really loves to cook, so she might want to cook with me, and that might be her thing. Or sometimes they might want to read a book, so I'll read a book with them. It's like little moments throughout the day that if they ask me for it and I'm available to give it to them, then I will. I would not say that I intentionally like set aside time for each of them to have alone time because I feel like it organically just happens throughout the day. I also think that there are times where one of them might want to come in the bed with me, and you know, if my husband and I aren't trying to have time to ourselves, like, I'll just let them. It doesn't bother me to co-sleep with them. And I do recognize that they, you know, have 5 other siblings. So sometimes for them, that is their time. Or if I recognize that they're trying to stay up later at night, then I will just give them the 20, 30 minutes on the couch together doing whatever, because they need that. And that will allow them to go to sleep for the night, as opposed to me spending 2 hours trying to send them back to their room over and over. But then we also everybody has their day. So whatever day they were born on every month, that's their day to pick whatever they want. So they get to pick what we eat. They get to pick if we're watching TV or a movie, they get to pick that. If it falls on a weekend and we have our family activity, they get to pick it. If they prefer to use the time to go on like a date with Poppy or a date with Mommy, then they can pick that. So that's what we do, but monthly.
Oh, that's good.
Really cool. I've never heard that.
Yeah, I got that from Crystal David a few years back, and I implemented it a few years ago, and I love it. I know she said that they now do it weekly. So she has 5 girls. So I think it's like whatever day they were born on, that's their, in terms of the like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So for us, it's if you were born on the 4th, then the 4th is your day of each month. For her, I think if they were born on Monday, then Mondays are their days. So she does it weekly. That sounds overwhelming to me. I can't let y'all control 6 out of 7 days of the week. So y'all get the 1 day a month.
Oh, that's good. That's a good idea. I need to start doing that. I'll wait till Mav's a little bit older, because right now every day is his day. Ugh.
Start with you and hubby. When it's your birthday, be like, oh, it's my day. I'm out.
Oh, see, I never think about these things for myself. I like that. I'm going to do this. Thanks, Charisse.
You're welcome.
Okay, I'm going to ask you this. So you've got 5 girls and 1 boy, and your boy and girl twins are your youngest, right?
Yes.
Wait, how old are they, by the way?
They're 2.
Okay. So how is being a mom to a boy different from your other 5 girls? And are you guys planning to have more after this?
We didn't plan to have more after the 3rd one.
Really?
We did not plan it. We welcomed it when it came, but we did not plan it. And the twins were the largest surprise of all of them, because we were not planning to have them, and we were trying not to have a baby, and then 2 of them came. So, but I mean, God knows better than me, and they're the perfect addition to our family. They're so much fun. But the boy is, I mean, he's really just different. Boys are different. Yeah. I don't know what to say about that. I think I've heard boy moms look at their boys and be like, oh, he's just a boy. And I'm always like, no, you need to get him together. But no, boys will be boys. He has more energy than the other girls. 10 years of having children, and he was my first broken bone. So, he just like, they climb everything. They jump off stuff. I feel like he growls just to growl because he got that masculine energy. So like when the twins wake up, Matilda will run out and say, Mommy, I'm awake. And I'll say, good morning. And then Daniel will like come stomping out and be like, I'm awake, Mommy. I'm like, okay, Dan the man, you the man, we know it. So it is different. It is different. All of the girls were potty trained before 2 years old. He is not. He was, in his defense, he was almost all the way potty trained. I actually got rid of all the diapers. We bought him the training underwear, and then he broke his leg. And I was like, well, yeah, we can't have an accident in the cast. Like, you can't smell like pee and have a broken leg. And if I bring you back smelling like pee after a broken leg, they might really look at me, and I can't have none of my kids taken from me. So we put the diapers back on him. And after that, it's like, like you said, though, we haven't tried. Like, it is an effort on the parents also. So I think after that, we haven't gone back to trying. So
I don't blame you, sister. Okay.
Yeah. And then it is fun. So things that are fun with the girl boy twins, especially because they're twins and the same age, it's a lot of fun to watch how like the girl, she started talking first. The girl, Matilda, she started talking first. She speaks very well. Daniel does not speak well. Like, I understand what he's saying, but other people are not going to get it. I only understand it because I've heard him say the same exact gibberish like 30 times in a row. And then I'll be like, point to it. Where is it? What is it? Show me. Walk me there.
What color is it? You know your color.
Right.
Give me the color.
And he's like,
know their kids.
The other day he was like, Hassa, Hami, Hassa. And I was like, what? Where is it? And he's like, no, Hassa. And eventually I figured out that he was saying, what's up, Mommy? What's up?
Oh, that's so cute.
It's fun. Like, cognitively, she develops a lot faster. Physically, he develops a lot faster. Like, he started walking first. He can beat everybody on a scooter, and she's still like just trying to stand on it. So though it is interesting how like boys physically, they develop faster. Cognitively, girls develop faster. And he has more energy, but he's also, I think he's the sweetest of my children. Like, he's the one that comes and gives me cuddles the most. And, I always hear moms say, people talk about having sons and how your sons don't leave you. And like, I see that with him. I feel like, especially with my older girls, like they sometimes can't wait to leave. I'll be like, y'all making plans? What's going on? Y'all got a date? You going somewhere? What you mean? It's the pandemic. There is no Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. There is no time. We just are. Why are you asking me what day and time it is? We have nothing but my son. I feel like he's mine forever. So
you gotcha. Yeah. No, I'm laughing when you said that about like his speech because same thing. My son, he was crawling. I mean, he had his tooth started coming out at like almost 4 months. I could see them. I was like, oh my gosh, is this early? He started crawling at like 5 months. He was pulling up by like 6, 7 months and like walking. And I was like, this is a lot. So yeah, when you say that, I'm like, oh, I completely understand. And then when I hear him speaking, I even had to look it up. I was like, because he's very smart. He knows colors, numbers, counts, all that. But like the way he says things, I asked my fiance, because he has 2 older kids. I was like, when do they start speaking clear? Like, because he says stuff and I'll be like, what color is it?
Right.
How does it look? And it's just, he'll say things and like he'll be on FaceTime with my parents and he'll say like peace out and my mom's like, huh? I'm like, he said peace out. That's what he was trying to say, but it didn't sound like that.
That's
and
so
then our
cute.
brand new puppy, her name's Vixen, and he calls her Victus. And I was like, what? So he'd be like, Victus. And I'm like, how did you get Victus out of Vixen? And like, I'll try to break it down like Vixen. No. And then my friend, she's got a 2-year-old, and I was like, yeah, our dog's name is Vixen. She said, oh, Vixen. And I'm like, wait, how you can say it? But he can't.
Right.
So yes.
It's funny. I think they just can't, at least with Daniel, like he just can't form his mouth to make certain sounds yet.
Right.
So all of the T's and K's are still a B sound. They're just the easier of it. And I know like with him, I'll just over enunciate everything. So I'll be like, what's your dog's name? Vixen?
Vixen, yeah.
Yeah. So I'll be like Vixen. And then he'll look at me and be like, Vixen. Like he'll still get it wrong, but he knows. I think, I trust that he'll catch up. I know some people may have put him in speech therapy by now because his birthday is May. So he's a little bit older. I mean, I think that he could benefit from speech therapy. I'm just not worried about it because his confidence is still there. I think like when I would be concerned is if he stopped trying to talk because he got discouraged that I couldn't understand him. But he'd be getting annoyed with me like, no, this lady, I'm saying this very clearly.
Right. And I'm like, I'm saying, and he says, if, instead of grandma, Mav will say, what does he call grandma, babe? Oh, he calls her Mina. Mina! And I'm like, what? The first time he said that, I was like, who are you calling me? Like, no, so he'll just like scream because grandma lives with us, so he'll just be like, Mina! Mina! And then she's just like, that's not my name, Av. It's grandma.
That's so funny.
Yeah. And his little head, I know he's like, I'm saying grandma.
Yeah. We're all the problem to them.
Right.
Like in their mind, it is so clear. What is the problem that we can't understand them?
So Charisse, I heard about your greatness through Cody when I was looking for like my 2-year-old to kind of advance in her learning because she was going to more of like a infant-based 2-year-old program.
Mm-hmm.
She told me about you. She had raved about your Hidden Gems Preschool. Like 2 to 6.
Yeah.
So it's in LA. It's a nonprofit. And you guys teach. We're really impressed with like what you guys teach, even in these times. I think
Thank you.
The Malcolm X and the Harriet Tubman. And after we actually started planning garden, she watches it grow, and we got that from your program. So where did you come up with the idea? How did you come up with the curriculum? Like how did all that form?
I have always known that I wanted to work with children. I always knew that I wanted a lot of children of my own and then to teach children. I think like when I was 4 years old, I used to have a whiteboard and I would put all my little stuffed animals out on my bed like they were my students, and I would draw pictures on my whiteboard and teach them. So that's something I always knew that I wanted to do. And then I ended up becoming a teacher before I had children, before I got married. So I was working as a preschool teacher through 1st grade. So depending on the year, I was either in a pre-K classroom or a 1st grade classroom. And then when I had our first daughter, I only had my little 6 weeks maternity leave. So I took that, and I feel like 2 days before I was supposed to come back to work, I walked into the office holding her, and I was like, I can't do it. Like, I can't leave her. And so then I just quit my job. I stayed home with her for about 1.5 years, but I still wanted to work. I wanted to work with children, and my children have been a big part of all of it. So I feel like as they grow, the vision grows with them. So it's in part been like, whatever I, as a mom, wanted for my child, I would create that for other moms and children. So I started in-home daycare, and then our oldest got to be 3 years old, and we had 2 more after that. And our 3-year-old was reading fluently. And she was literally climbing our bookshelves at home. Like I would turn around and she'd be at the top of the bookshelf. And I was like, babe, she gotta go. Like, she needs to go to school. She needs a play structure. She needs more. So we started looking for schools in the Inglewood, Los Angeles area for her. And everywhere I went, it was really like, she's 3 years old. This is the classroom. This is what she's going to do. And she was developmentally way above that. So I was like, well, if that's what you have her doing, she's going to be climbing your bookshelves too. And I'm not about to have you label my child as bad or like ADHD because she's not stimulated based on what you're providing or not providing for her. And at that time, I also really missed being with children that were a little bit older. And I feel like these children would keep coming to the daycare and then get to the age that I really loved working with them. And then they would leave to go to school. And so I just told my husband one day, I was like, I want a school. Like, I can't find anything out here that I like for Christina. And I really want to get all these kids out of my house. And I want to go back to working with children that are a little bit older. And maybe 2 days after saying that, we saw a building for sale that used to be a preschool and like already had the padding and the shading and had the little baby toilets, like had everything. And I looked at my husband and I was like, babe, that's ours. Like, I just spoke it and there it is. Let's go see it. So we went and then we started our own school. And the biggest thing for me starting it was that I wanted to have curriculum that stimulated children and didn't just meet the standards. So I really wanted, if children were delayed or challenged in any area, I wanted to be able to work with them to get them to where they needed to be. And if children were ahead of the game, I didn't want to hold them back based on age. So our school ended up becoming like very family style in terms of, we have like one large classroom. So we kind of break kids up based on development and age. So if they're 3, but they're doing the things the 4-year-olds are doing, then they're in the 4-year-old group. And then I also, a lot of my training experience comes from these comes from the West Side and comes from these very like high-end private schools on the West Side where there are a lot of resources and there's a lot of training and there's a lot of knowledge of, you know, how to talk to children and how to teach children and how to expose children to all these different things. And so when I didn't see the same thing, I was like, well, I want to bring that over here. Like, it's not fair that the only people that get access to that are people that can afford to pay $3,000 a month to have their children in school 4 to 5 hours a day. So that was a big part, was like, I took a lot of what I learned from these other schools, which is great. It's great stuff. And another part was also, there are so many parts. Just tell me to shut up when you want me to shut up. I'm sorry.
No, this was like so interesting.
Another part was like the idea, I don't know how to explain this. The idea that I feel like people that have money get to put their children into a lot of things. Their children do horseback riding and their children swim and their children do gymnastics and ballet and piano. They do all the things and then stick with whatever they like the best. And I think that there are a lot of people that are adults who never were exposed to what their true gift is. I just feel like every child is a genius, whether that genius be in books or that genius might be in painting, or it might be in archaeology. Like, I don't know what it is, but I feel like everybody has their area of genius, and a lot of people are never exposed to it, and then just end up living like mediocre lives where they just do what they have to get the paycheck, and they can't figure out why they never feel fully fulfilled. And so to me, like, exposure to children is such a big part, just to show them that there are all these different things that exist, so that even if we never come across it, you know that it's possible. Like, you've seen all the things, you've seen a lot of things, like even just going to museums and having them watch people who dust off the bones, and like, that's their job, and those people get paid well. Or there are people who just set up the museum things. Like, these are jobs that we don't typically think of. We think of fireman, doctor, police, teacher, but we don't think about all these random jobs that people have, entrepreneurs. And so anything really is possible. I joke and I tell my children, I'm like, I laugh when they go home and tell their parents, but I'm like, you know, what do you want to be when you grow up? And a little girl told me, I want to be a mermaid when I grow up. And I was like, girl, go to Vegas. You can be a mermaid when you grow up. Like, I saw mermaids in Vegas. You want to be a mermaid? I am not going to crush your dreams today. Like, whatever you want to do, it is possible. There is a way.
And you've got
to do
parents
anything.
like, why did you tell my daughter to go to
Right.
Vegas?
No, they go home and they'll be like, Mommy, Miss Charisse told me I could be a mermaid. And the parents will be like, oh, okay. And I'm like, no, they can't.
True.
So a lot of that, it came from a bunch of different places, the way I do curriculum. And then for me, I grew up in a predominantly white community. I'm half white. My mom and my brother are white. And I grew up really like believing that I was not attractive, that I was not good enough, all these things. And I didn't have good black representation. I also grew up a competitive swimmer, which when I was growing up, like, swimming was not populated by Black people at all.
Right.
So it was just another arena where like I was one of very few faces, if not the only face. So to me, it's really important to expose Black children to Black faces of success and to the amazing things that our leaders before us have done. So Black history has always been like a huge thing to me, and not just learning your typical, like, Harriet Tubman helped free people, but like, do you know that Harriet Tubman was not allowed to eat apples as an 8-year-old? And that because of that, she ended up planting apple trees at the property that she owned as an adult and let everybody have free apples. Like, little things that are inspiring, but motivating to children. And just to, I think when you can know somebody more as a person, you realize how much more success is attainable to you. And when you can know about the struggles and the successes, like, it just helps. So, and I don't think it's ever too early to start teaching children about that.
Right.
It's crazy because if you listen to those kids when you're telling the story about the apple, they're like, but I like apples and I'm allowed to eat apples. Why couldn't she eat apples? Or they were like, well, why couldn't she defend herself? Because if someone hit me, I was told to, and it was, their minds just start going, insane. And when you think about what we were taught about these people, it was just, they were a slave, they freed the slaves. Yeah. And it was probably like a week out of 1 month and you never heard of them again. So it's these amazing stories. Like, literally, there was one, I think it was the man in the box. What was his name?
Henry Box Brown.
I was literally sitting there with a teary eye because these kids were so, like, they were so engaged, and after even with Halo wanting to plant the seeds, I was like, oh my goodness.
Oh, that's beautiful. That makes me so happy.
She goes outside every morning. She wants to water the plants, because she knows that it will grow. So, instead of giving our kids these watered down Black history, I think it's just amazing, honestly, what you're doing.
That makes me, I live for that. That makes me so happy. I love it.
Not only, help out the kids, you help out the moms and parents as well.
Yes.
Yes.
You're teaching a class called Parenting, which bases, you got it from like the Nonviolent Communication method, right?
Yeah. So some of the things that I learned on the West Side are things that I want to teach people about. And I think like a lot of the ease that you talked about, first of all, well, I don't know. I feel like parenting has its frustrating moments. I do feel like parenting is easy-ish. I don't know, like 6 kids is not overwhelming to me. It's not a lot to me. However, this weekend they were all 6 in the pool and I was not in the pool. And I was like, this is how everybody feels when I tell them I have 6 kids. Like,
that's what we be thinking in our heads. Like,
I was like, I don't know if I'm going to make it back with all 6. But I think a lot of like what helps me with parenting is my experience with children, but also my education with children, because my expectations are more realistic. I think a lot of the like frustrations with parenting come from it shouldn't look like that, but you don't know how to get it to look like what you think it should look like. So I think knowing what it actually looks like at different phases has helped me to not feel like I'm failing in certain areas, or to not, so that I don't get like overly frustrated. Like when people are meeting your expectations, even if that expectation is that they're going to throw a tantrum, there's no longer frustration because your expectations are being met. So for me, I think parenting has been easy-ish because of my knowledge about children and how they develop at certain stages. That and, learning things as a teacher. I feel like there are a lot of things that teachers learn that parents never learn, but it's so valuable for parents to learn. When what's that actress's name that just passed away? She drowned on the lake, Naya. Yeah. So I really don't know anything none of us know the intimacy of like how that happened, but I know my niece, who's also a teacher, she and I were talking before her body was found, and we were like, how did this happen? Why was the boy just on the boat? How was he asleep? But little things like that, like teachers, if you go on a lake with a child, before you even set out, you're going to teach them, like, if anything goes wrong, grab something on the boat and hit this metal and make noise, like something to alert people, so that a child isn't just in the middle of the lake, like to the point where they just have to fall asleep and wait for somebody to find them. And I really don't mean that in a judgmental way, so I hope it's not coming off that way. It's just, there are little things that you don't think about as a parent that teachers are trained to think about. And so I feel like that training should not be restricted to teachers. It should be for parents who are the first and forever teachers that are with your children. So that, you know, and I felt like I can only work with so many children at one time, but if I can work with parents, I can work with more children in that sense, you know. And it's more important for parents to have the understanding, who are the first teachers, who are with them, who are raising them. And if there are these things that have made it easier for me, like, why not share that with other parents to make it better for them?
And the nonviolent communication, I don't have the quote in front of me, but I quoted something you had said in the first class about speaking to your kids not being responsible for how you react to them. And it's basically your responsibility to take care of those triggers or whatever that is inside of you that's like causing you react. I don't have the exact quote, but you said something in that. So I wanted you to speak to, you know, like I guess the overall concept of the nonviolent communication. Talking to you.
So nonviolent communication is also known as compassionate communication or needs-based languaging. And it's the idea that all the things we communicate are an effort to meet a certain need, and that you experience frustrations and challenges based on when your needs are not met. So, for instance, a child, like I had recently posted on Instagram, when your child is pushing your buttons, like a lot of us will say, like, my child is pushing my buttons, they get on my last nerve. But if you look at it from a perspective of like, when your child is pushing, they're literally pushing their needs. Like, I need quality time, or I need attention. And so to start to recognize what those needs are, then we can address it differently. But also for ourselves, a lot of times, I'm trying to think of an example. A lot of times for ourselves, we're not checking in with ourselves to know what our needs are. So we might be getting frustrated that they're not going to sleep because we are in school and we have a paper that we have to write before morning time. So I really need you to get to bed because I have this paper I need to write. But if you really think about it, like, it's not so much your need. You do have a need for time. You do have a need to finish your paper, but you also have a need for that sense of self and that sense of pride when you complete things and when you're successful in things. So like, you being able to go to work, that's your way of contributing to society. It's your way of contributing to your family. It's your way of fulfilling your own purpose. So that need is stronger than a need for a paycheck or a need to be on time. It's like, I don't need you to hurry up in the morning because I need to be on time to work. I need you to hurry up because I have a need to be a responsible person. And for me, that looks like getting to work on time and being ready to go. So I think, Marisa, is that kind of what you were asking me about?
Yeah. Taking care of our issues so that we can be better parents to our kids.
Yeah.
It's not their fault we get upset for them wanting our attention.
Yeah.
I know when you read that quote last week, I was like, oh snap, Charisse is talking to me and she don't even know me. Because I realized, because there will be times where it's just frustrating and you're like, you have to stop and think, first of all, this is a little person who doesn't know that they're frustrating you. Like, they're not trying to frustrate. Right. So it's not their fault that I'm frustrated that they're being loud or wanting my attention. Like, it has something to do with me. So what is that I'm going through that I have to respond to my child like this? Yeah. That really is a reminder to be like, okay, Megan, check in with yourself right now because you're getting frustrated. And for what?
Yeah.
I had to take a moment the other day and I just put my hand against the wall like this. And it was like after what happened, I think because like it was so much stuff going on. I dropped one drink, it spilled everywhere. I dropped another drink, it spilled. Matt knocked the other one over by accident. And I just was like, and I remember and I was thinking about that show. I was like, what did Marisa say? How I respond? What did she say? Charisse told her. Okay. So let me gather myself and see why I'm frustrated. Okay, cool. And it really did change my response to my child though.
I think communicating your needs. I think yesterday, everything when you call, I think you might have texted me early and then I responded late at night because it was the only time I had to respond to the text message. And I didn't eat all day. I think I ate breakfast. I rushed to eat breakfast. I didn't lunch. I didn't eat dinner. And then that night, and I was so frustrated all day. And then that night I told Terrell, I was like, maybe we should prepare our mornings like we prepare when the sitter comes. Like when the sitter comes early, we make all their food. We make the bottles. We do all this stuff. We're ready. Like everything is perfect for her to come and us to leave. And I'm like, maybe like waking up like we're leaving. Because that will help me at least with their lunches, with their food, for me to eat, because he's working upstairs all day and I'm trying to just drink a cup of tea. That's it. That's
right.
My day would be so much better. And he was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. So we all just meal prep our own meals and like get everything together. Yeah, that would actually be really helpful. But being able to communicate that is so hard sometimes for me to do. Like, what need. But I was like, oh, that's a brilliant idea. Why don't we just act like we're leaving? Like, why don't we prepare like we're leaving? Because we do it when we're up.
Well, it's funny too, as moms, it's like earlier, Meg, you had said, I don't even remember what we were talking about, but we were talking about the diapers. And I was like, take that money and go get a hotel. And you were like, yeah, I didn't even think about that. But we get in a habit of not even thinking about ourselves or thinking about what we need. So when we get to the point where we want to now practice like taking a moment to ourselves and trying to figure out what we need, sometimes we don't even know where to start. Like we don't know how to recognize what our needs are because we've habitually spent years preparing for everybody else. Like why prepare for the sitter better than you would prepare for yourself? Like, you know what I mean? It would make sense to prepare for yourself in the same way. I mean, part of it also just has to do with like nerves of, is she going to do as good a job as I am? So let me make sure things are going to be set up. But we spend so much time preparing things for other people, taking care of other people, that when it comes to us, we forget what are our needs. Like that, let me turn that off.
You to watch the kid.
Nope, I don't know how to turn it off.
That's okay. See, this is mommy life right here.
But anyways, I remember getting to a point where honestly, like I was ready to leave my husband. I was so frustrated with everything. I think we had 3 or 4 children at the time. And I was just ready to go. Like I was at my end of everything. And I was so overwhelmed. And we started going to counseling. We started going to therapy, which I advise everybody to go to counseling, whether or not you're in a good or bad place. Like, I just think everybody should have that. I think it's fantastic. But we went to counseling, and like part of the things that were discovered there was, I would say things like, but you always just get to leave whenever you want to leave. And it's always just assumed that I'm going to be with the kids. And you always get to do this. And you go out to your poetry events and I'm always here with the children and I'm never doing anything social. And he's like, but Charisse, you never go. And at first I was like, but because I was like, oh, I don't like, I just don't do it. And I'm mad at him for what I'm not doing for my own self. And I'm mad at him for doing for his self what he needs. And that didn't make any sense. So even with him, you know, I started communicating more what my needs are and found out that he was never, ever opposed to any of this. I just wasn't doing it. Yeah. And then when I first started taking time to myself, I'd be like, okay, well, what you want to do? Like, you have a couple hours. What do you want to do? And I would not know. Like, I got to the point where I didn't remember what I liked to do for fun or what I was good at. And, you know, I used to be a swimmer and I was like, should I go swimming? No, I don't like swimming like that anymore. Should I paint? Maybe, I don't know. So I think like we are constantly working and doing stuff where we get to a point where we don't even know how to sit for a moment to recognize what our needs are. So I think like getting in the practice of really recognizing what your needs are, it helps overall, because not only does it help you to manage your frustrations with your children in terms of recognizing that it's not them, but it also helps you to recognize what exactly you need to be able to meet that need the right way. You know what I mean? Like if you're thirsty and you go and you get something to eat, that's not going to solve your problem.
Right.
So it's like, but if you don't recognize that you're thirsty and you need water, you're just going to keep eating and never meet your need and get fat in the process. So it's like being able to really recognize what it is that you need and meet your need, and then be able to meet the needs of your children. It makes for a better life for everybody.
A word, Charisse. That is a word right there. Okay, let me ask you, what do you have coming up for you professionally and personally and with your family? What's next for you guys?
So we are now, I'm gonna have to go send out an official announcement because you asked me. We're in the midst of transforming the school into a library space. Okay. Part of that is because of the pandemic. My husband started a library of poetry. There are no libraries of poetry in LA, and he was like, there should be a library of poetry. So he started one, but he started it in our garage. And that was about a year ago. And then when the pandemic hit, and not so much the school slowing down, but me just realizing that the school was taking me away from being present with my children and them needing me to be present, like all 6 of them being home, and our oldest is just starting middle school. And I really didn't want her to have to start middle school without my support, or start middle school online at home without my support. So I knew that I had to kind of take a step back from like teaching other people's children so that I could be present for my own. So we're transforming the school into a library of poetry. And then I'll probably still teach literacy classes for children. We haven't quite worked that out. And then it's interesting because saying no to the school has kind of opened up doors for other things. So God is just really amazing how like things flow. And I honestly feel like he kind of told me to step away from the school a few years back, and I just didn't listen. I was like, but what am I going to do instead? And I can't, and I'm going to desert all my families. And then he was like, okay, well, you're pregnant with twins. And I was like, nah, I can still do this. I'm going to work and have twins. And then he was like, not if they come 2.5 months early. And I was like, no, I'm still going to interview people from the hospital bed. And I'm still going to do this, Lord. Like, I'm going to make this happen. And like hobbling into school after I got stitches from having a seat, like it was ridiculous. I came back the day after I got out of the hospital while my babies were still in the NICU. I literally didn't sleep for 4 weeks. I like worked during the day, had my children during the night. I didn't want them to feel like the twins were more than them. So I would put them to sleep. Then I would go to the NICU. I'd be with the babies all night, and they don't let you hold your babies if you go to sleep. So I would stay awake all night. And then as soon as I would put them to sleep at like 6:30, knowing my kids were going to wake up around 7, I would run back home to wake them up and get to school and just do it. I literally did that for 4 weeks. And then finally, when the babies came home, like my body just crashed.
Oh my gosh.
But anyways,
you are super mom.
That is a major side note to like, I feel like I was supposed to step away years ago and I didn't. And so finally I started stepping away. And like the moment that I decided to take a step back, I was getting calls from PBS to do trainings and webinars for educators with PBS. And then they've asked me to write an article for them. And I've just had like different opportunities in that realm of like doing conferences and doing workshops. And then after doing the PBS workshop, a lot of schools reached out and were like, can you do PD for us? And I was like, definitely. So I feel like that has kind of like opened up. So now I'm focused more on educating parents and educating educators, and working with my children. So that's what I'm working on. And then writing books. So I recently wrote a children's book that I'm very excited about. It actually came from right after George Floyd was murdered. I was like, I mean, we all know how we felt. And I was just in tears. And even then we had our virtual class. So our class started at 10 in the morning. I think I cried up until like 9:58 and then like wipe my tears to get myself together for our virtual Zoom class. And I did that. And shout out to Natalie Boucher. I know you guys had her on here before.
Yeah, she was our first guest.
Oh,
sure.
Oh, how fun. But she had called me after the class and she was like, I just want to say thank you for showing up for the kids. Like, it means so much. I know it's not easy. And just to have someone like give that to me without me telling them that I was going through it was so special and really what I needed to like keep going. But anyways, in the midst of that, I had this like overwhelming feeling of like, what do we even do? How do we help the world? Like, this is so much and so big. So I wrote a book for children that's called Say Their Names. It's a mindfulness book for children. One thing that we do at the school is like when children are very, very upset, we practice yoga breaths and mindfulness. So one of our favorites is like, we'll hold up 5 fingers and say, blow out the birthday candles, and they'll blow them out and we'll count down. And then we'll hold up 4 fingers and say, blow out the birthday candles. And that helps them to just calm down. And then I realized like, no matter what it is that you're going to do, if you're going to protest, if you're going to speak to people, if you're going to write a book, whatever you do, like you need to start with breath. Like you need to start internally checking in with yourself, breathing. So the book is, it's weird to say I'm excited because it's about people that were murdered, but it's literally A through Z, a list of names of people that have been murdered by the cops. But for each name, there's a different yoga breath that you do with it. So the idea or concept of it is teaching children how to, like, what to do when they just feel so overwhelmed by a situation and they don't know where to start. So teaching them to just start with their breath, but then also actually saying these names so that these people can still live and these people still have a purpose and they didn't die in vain. And then, you know, of course, it teaches them like alphabet and counting as well in the book. So, but that's what I'm doing. And what I really want to do is like writing books for children, writing books for parents, and then working with parents and educators.
Nice. Wait, so when can we get this book?
No,
I'm just waiting for the illustrations to be done. It should be out within the next couple of months.
Okay, Charisse, because Marisa and I support all of our guests.
Yay!
So we need to get some of these books for our children as well.
I will definitely let you know.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I mean, I would have never thought of putting those two concepts together. That is
right.
My mind is still grasping that. That is really great. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, guys. So before we get out of here, we always want to leave you with some inspiration for you to remember that you are fine, not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. So today I have a quote. Well, yeah, it's kind of long. It's a piece from a book. You have to plan and cultivate good health. You have to commit to good health. You have to live good health because it comes from the inside out. It comes from what you bring in your life, positive, empowering thoughts, prayer, affirmation, uplifting company, and high quality, life-giving good foods. To have excellent health, you must invest in time, energy into transformation of your sacred body temple. And once you've acquired excellent health, you must maintain it vigilantly. That's the true divine challenge of that you can and must meet. And this just goes to, that's from the Queen of Fu. What is her book? It is The Sacred Woman. So I've been reading her books, and I think this just goes with what we were talking about of keeping good company, knowing your needs, doing what is good for you, and before you can even be good to anyone else. And her books have really, I've gotten through her books probably in 2 weeks. I don't think I've that fast. And in this time, I have been taking more baths I think I've ever taken in my life. I've made my own rose water with Halo. Halo sprays her little spray in the morning. It is just a whole different level of self-care that I think every woman should just check out. But all in all, if you don't know your needs, if you don't know what's good for you, how will you know what's good for anybody else, including your partner, including your kids? So I've just been really trying to dive deep into that. So if you have the book, reread it. If you don't have it, check it out.
Can you read the part again? Did you say that a part of it said you have to visualize it?
You have to commit to good health, inside and out, positive, empowering thoughts, prayer, affirmation, uplifting company, high quality living, good foods. To have an excellent health, you must invest the time and energy, transformation. I don't think she says No, but she does say that. She does say like to visualize yourself a lot of the time, like with this womb, like a healthy womb, a healthy vagina. Like she talks about visualizing it all the time. So you probably seen it.
Well, I love it. I love that quote.
Well, we're about to get out of here, but thank you so much, Charisse, for joining us. I really like this. We did a pretty long show today, but like I love it because I feel like I learn, and I'm like just listening to you learning, and I'm becoming a better parent in this moment. Thank you, Charisse. So thank you for taking a break with us today. And thank you for watching and listening, everybody out there. Thank you for taking your break with us as well. Make sure you stay tuned because every week we have great mommy and daddy guests for you to take a break with. Please follow our guest, Charisse Sims. Charisse, what are your Instagram social media handles?
It's all Charisse Sims.
Oh, and your preschool.
Hidden Gems Preschool.
Yes, please follow Charisse everywhere. Also follow me, Megan Thomas at Meg Scoop everywhere. Don't forget, you get exclusive footage. We're going to have some giveaways on our Patreon page. So make sure you click the links in the description if you're interested in becoming a patron.
Yes, and I'm Marisa Johnson. Make sure to follow me at She Is Marisa J and follow all of our platforms at mnabpodcast.com. And we will see you next time.